Discover the latest health tips, expert advice, and inspiring stories. This is the Health Channel Podcast. Your journey to better health starts now.
Why do some couples' relationships tend to grow stronger under pressure while others seem to fall apart? Is it chemistry, communication, or counseling? And when a relationship ends, is there a typical grieving process? Today, we'll share the science and some of the secrets to making relationships last. And we're going to do it with the help of Dr. Rachna Buxani-Mirpuri, a licensed mental health therapist. Plus, we're going to answer your questions. It's all coming up next on this episode of Ask the Doc, No Appointment Needed. Welcome to Ask the Doc, the show where we encourage our viewers to send in their health questions. I'm Miranda Khan. Thanks for joining us. And I just love today's topic. So let's just jump right in, shall we? Our first question comes from Kieran, who reached out to us on our website, allhealthtv.com. Kieran asks, "Hi, Dr. Buxani. I'd really like to know, in your expert opinion, what makes a relationship healthy?" Kieran, this is the perfect first question for the good doc. Dr. Buxani, please let us know some of the basics.
Sure. I agree, by the way, Miranda. I think it's a perfect first question. And I think a very important one, because often we are in relationships and then we see some red flags, but we tend to just ignore them because we think, okay, everybody's relationships are somehow challenging or bad. But there are actually things that we can ask ourselves as to, am I in a healthy relationship or not? So let's talk about them. The first thing is, when I share something with my partner, especially a vulnerable feeling, how do I feel after that, right? Like, do I feel safe sharing that with my partner? Do I feel uplifted when I have those conversations? So is it after, talking to my partner, do I feel drained or do I feel energized and I feel uplifted in that communication? A lack of judgment, shame. Right. So healthy relationships are absent of judgment and shame. So when I talk to my partner, especially about those vulnerable things, what is my experience with that? Respect in a relationship. I tend to think that people can actually do without love, but they cannot do without respect. So I think that is one of the most important ingredients of a healthy relationship, that respect of your partner. Compassion, which is, I think, the highest form of empathy that we can have for another human being. That is very present in healthy relationships. And most healthy relationships are growth-oriented, right? So for both partners, they're working towards making or helping each other fulfill their dreams. So these are some indicators of healthy relationships.
I just think that's so interesting. I've never heard anyone say that respect was more important than love. Can you kind of give us an example of respect versus disrespect?
So in a relationship, if one partner is making all the decisions and say the other partner wants to have a say, but their ideas are being minimized or invalidated, and the partner just goes by what they want, that's disrespect. Right? In a relationship where, say, they're children and a husband is making fun of wife, like making a joke, okay, but it's not funny, that might be disrespectful to your partner. So that respect, Miranda, I feel is so important because it's your whole self, right? Everything that your identity is based on is that self-respect. So I think that really, for me, is key in any relationships, and especially when we talk about healthy relationships.
Yeah, thank you for elaborating on that and giving us some examples. I really appreciate it. All right, Patrick sent in this next question to us through our Facebook page. Patrick's question is, Dr. Buxani, My older sister is a malignant narcissist, according to my therapist. I'm not sure if it's related, but although I'm very attracted to somewhat older women, I've always had trouble in relationships with them. I never feel quite good enough. What can I do to break this pattern? Dr. Buxani, another good question. What do you suggest for Patrick?
First of all, Patrick, thank you for sending this in. Listen, my heart goes out to you. It is never easy to have a narcissist in your life. And if that narcissist is your family member, that becomes so much more complex. So I can only imagine your whole life and everything that you've had to deal with. So let's talk about trauma, right? Trauma lives in my body. So what happens is when I'm now in a relationship where I'm triggered, that trigger makes me feel inadequate or I'm not good enough. So it kind of triggers that feeling of inadequacy. So the first thing I need to do is really ask myself that, is it really my partner that's making me feel not good enough, or is it that old wound? Right. So when I feel that, when I feel triggered, I really need to be able to take a step back and ask myself, Patrick, work on healing. Healing is possible. I've just recently published a book on this topic. And I promise you that if you go down that path of healing, you're going to feel so much more able to handle these situations in your life. And you're going to be able to reshape those behaviors and those scripts that we adopt as children, especially when we come from toxic family systems. So, that seeking approval or constantly over-explaining yourself, all those behaviors can be managed so much better. One, when I understand what this trauma is doing to me, what my triggers are, and what I can do to heal from those relationships. Also, when I go on that healing journey and you've healed a little bit, the first step really to, again, have that really strong bond with your partner is to allow yourself to be a little vulnerable. Right now, I know it feels really scary to do that, but allowing that vulnerability will help your partner actually understand you and maybe also not engage in behaviors that trigger you. So I think it can work. Your partner can actually be your ally in this.
Well, and I would argue that your partner should be your ally, right? But you mentioned trauma. How many people go into a relationship that have trauma and have those triggers and haven't resolved things, and then it just kind of continues, kind of going to Patrick's point? Is this very common?
Yeah. So he has a particular kind of trauma, right? So there's a malignant narcissist, and malignant narcissist is the worst of the narcissists that we have, right? So
Can you explain what that is real quickly?
Sure. So the narcissism falls in a continuum where, on one side you have your superficial narcissists, the selfie ones. And then, on the other side is the malignant narcissists that, they are extremely dangerous because a malignant narcissist will not think twice before hurting or harming somebody for their own purpose. They will use people. There's, elements of Machiavellianism in them where they really feel nothing about using and throwing away people from their lives. It's really, Miranda, one station before psychopathy. So that's how dangerous malignant narcissism can be. So when you're in that environment, you're never going to be good enough. So a lot of people grow up with the trauma of not being good enough when they are coming from narcissistic family systems. But to answer your question, do most people have trauma? Yes. And, what we call the small t traumas that are not the very, it's not the acute trauma that, okay, I've had an accident or, I've been mugged or, there's a sexual assault. But this is like a chronic, persistent bullying, being minimized, being invalidated. So many, many, many people have been through, most people have been through those kinds of small t trauma, and they do bring it into those relationships. So I think identifying for yourself, accepting, healing, And then, having the courage to be vulnerable with your partner are very important steps.
Thank you so much for clarifying all of that. I really do appreciate it. All right, I'm going to go to another question. This one comes from Facebook, and it's from Mandela. Mandela asks, greetings, Dr. Buxani. What daily habits can be used to help strengthen a relationship? We just got married, and I'd really like to get ahead of any potential trouble. Mandela, what a great question. And I couldn't agree more about trying to be proactive. Dr. Buxani, your thoughts?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Mandela, for sending this in. Let's help you out a little bit with your new marriage. Congratulations. First point, turning towards. What does that mean? Partners usually give each other attention bids, right? So they bid for their partner's attention. That can be that, my partner comes home. I really want him to give me attention. But the way I ask for it, hey, we can have a cold front here in 2 days. That's my way of actually asking my partner for attention. So what the partner needs to do in that case is turn towards the partner that's asking for their attention, because really what she wants is, can you sit down and have a chat with me? Because I miss you. But instead of saying that, that's kind of her way of asking for attention. So be mindful of that. Express gratitude. I think there's so many things that our partners do and really we take for granted. Make it a practice to express gratitude once a day, once every couple of days to your partner. Just thank them for something that they are doing that's making your life better or your life easier. I love the daily check-ins. So in couples therapy, I've trained in the Gottman method. And that's really the sort of the gold standard that we have in the field for couples counseling. And they talk about these daily check-ins, which I love. Check in with your partner. Take out that time where you're not disturbed. There's nothing else going on. You do away with your phones and just sit down and check in with your partner, see how they're doing. I make all my couples do that because that's, to me, it's like putting money or savings into your emotional bank account, right?
Love that.
So what you do with the savings account is you use it when there's trouble, right? So it's the same thing. When my emotional bank account is full, when there's a conflict situation, I can pull from there. Repair quickly after you have a fight. Time heals. No, it really doesn't. Communication heals. So please communicate. Do those repair things if there's been a conflict or if there's been tension. And finally, protect your friendship. Laugh. Enjoy yourselves. Spend as much time doing the things that you both love to make that relationship last forever.
I love that. Emotional savings bank. I'm going to hold on to that one. That is rich. Like it. All right, we've got another question from allhealthtv.com, which, by the way, if you haven't already, we highly recommend that you check out our website when you get a chance, because it is filled with so much useful and great information. And Tucker knows that because that's where he sent us this question. He asked, hey, Doc, how can couples keep their relationships exciting and romantic? My girl and I have been together for about 4 years now, but lately it feels like we're just kind of going through the motions, nothing exciting. You probably know what I mean, right? Well, Tucker, I'm so sorry to hear that, but it's a great question. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, Doctor, but I would imagine this is something that a lot of couples experience. So what is your advice?
Few things that people can do, couples can do to keep that spark in their relationship. Firstly, create small novelty. Go to a new restaurant. Do a new routine. It's the newness, because I think it's the when I do something routinely for a long time, that's kind of what causes that boredom, right? So small novelty, always helpful. Rebuild curiosity. Now I'm going to give you an excellent tool for that. Gottman actually has Gottman card decks. They are for free on your app stores. Please go download those. The one that I really like, I love all the card decks, the salsa cards, and they're fascinating. However, my personal favorite is the open-ended questions card deck, where it really helps you understand your partner's inner world so much better. So I would really love, for all couples really to do that at date night or whenever you can get a chance. Um, Add unexpected affection into your day, a hug, a kiss, when it's not, when it's not planned for. I think that's always exciting. Break the functional routines, right? So do something that's not purposeful just because you want to do it. So go for a late night drive, go get ice cream, things that serve no purpose other than just spending time together. So these things I would recommend as some of the things that you can add to your routine. But please go check out the card decks. They're fantastic.
Yeah. Can you mention that site again where people can go?
Yes, it's the Gottman, Gottman, Gottman card decks. And you just go to your app store and you download the app. And again, it's for free.
I love it. Love it. All right. This next question comes from Joey, who reached out through our YouTube page. Joey's question is, Dr. Buxani, my partner stepped outside our marriage and I found out about it. She says she'll never do it again and has apologized profusely, but I just don't know, how can trust be rebuilt? Joey, I am so sorry to hear you're going through this, but we do appreciate you sharing the story with us. Doctor, it's a good question that Joey's added.
Yes, and again, my heart goes out to you.
Yeah.
Joey, this is probably one of the hardest injuries that you have to deal with in a relationship. Let's talk about what your partner can do to rebuild trust. So can trust be rebuilt? Absolutely. I've seen it. I've experienced it in my couples that I work with. So absolutely can happen. But here's what needs to happen for that to take place. Your partner needs to have full transparency. She needs to be able to have a consistent openness about whereabouts, social media, communication, anything that you need to know. She needs to be able to be fully transparent about that. I think both of you would benefit from knowing the why, right? When someone steps out of the relationship, there's an underlying vulnerability in the relationship often. So you do want to understand the why of the what, to help you understand how that can be bridged to bring you guys closer. She has to show consistent, reliable, and predictable behaviors. So if she's supposed to show up somewhere at a certain time, she needs to be able to do that. Because that, again, for you is going to help you build trust that, okay, I can count on this person. And then, of course, along with that, the building trust is building that emotional connection. So you do need to try to bring back that warmth, the closeness into your relationship, and best done with the couples therapist if you have access to. If not, again, pick up some, online Gottman, sheets and stuff to help you guys. But really, the twofold approach is going to be for her to rebuild that trust with being consistent, by being transparent and answering any questions, and also kind of calming you down when your triggers come up and allowing for those triggers to come up. And at the same time, you both working on rebuilding that emotional closeness.
Well, that's encouraging to know that you've seen it happen, Doctor. But you mentioned transparency, and you were specifically talking about social media. But what does that mean when you say you have to prove that? Does that mean giving your partner access to your phone and social media?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've had that happen with my couples in this and Randa. I have seen it happen. I have seen couples, come in because there's been infidelity and go on to have beautiful marriages and then kids. And then they send me the pictures and look, we are at Disney World. It's lovely. So it can definitely happen. And yes, full transparency means if they need your passwords, you need to give it to them.
All right, looks like we've got another question from Instagram. This time it's from Braxton, who says, "Hi, Dr. Buxani. My wife and I have not been getting along so great lately. I still love her, and I'm pretty sure she still loves me, but we just can't seem to agree about anything, which was never a problem before. How could couples therapy help us?" Dr. Buxani, I think a lot of people watching can relate to this one. I'd like to know the answer.
I'm a little biased. I think couples therapy is extremely helpful. But anyways, I'll give you the nuts and bolts of it. So what couples therapy does is really, um, you know, uh, help build healthy communication, because without that, there's no way a relationship can survive. But it also helps figure out the horsemen of communication. And therefore, so there's criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, contempt, and what the antidotes to those are, so that couples can engage in healthy communication, and have a healthy relationship does as a result of that healthy communication. Because again, as per Gottman, that is really the crux of a relationship. So that's what you learn in couples therapy. You learn how to talk to each other without having a disagreement, without disconnecting, how to raise concerns with your partner without triggering each other, or becoming defensive. So all of those things, the really, really good communication skills is what you learn in therapy.
So just real quickly, do you have to have issues in your marriage to go to couple therapy?
No.
As I heard people, okay, go ahead.
Yes, you can go to, and then we have a lot of couples who come in who are about to get married. And so they feel like, okay, you know what, we want to, we want to get to know each other at a different level. We want to know how to communicate with each other better. So yes, absolutely. You do not need to have problems to go into couples therapy. It's a beautiful journey to get onto, to really, build a very, very healthy relationship with your partner.
So be proactive, like that one viewer was talking about. So this next question comes from Davis via YouTube. He asks, "Hi, Dr. Buxani. I'm a 65-year-old widower whose beloved wife passed away a few years back. My friends say it's time to get back out there, and that sounds like a nice idea, but it's hard for me to think about dating because I still miss my wife. Do you think I should try it anyway?" Well, first off, Davis, our sincerest condolences for your loss. Dr. Buxani, this is a tough one, but an important question.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Davis, thank you so much. I'm sure it's not an easy thing for you to even reach out. So I'm glad you took the courage to reach out. I'm going to begin by saying you need to reframe this. Dating is not a replacement for your wife. It's not a betrayal to her, right? Instead of asking, should I try dating? I think what you need to ask yourself is, do I feel emotionally open to forming a new connection? Right? Because, and while I carry the memories of my wife, because both can coexist, I don't need to let go of the memories of my wife just to get in a dating, start dating somebody. I can actually have and hold both. So that's really, really important. Your history, just so you know, Davis, will always remain intact. Even in your future relationships. And that's what's special about this. So I think what you need to ask yourself, as far as your readiness, some readiness indicators are, okay, and do I have the curiosity for meeting someone new? Do I have a desire for companionship? Do I have the ability to talk about my wife without feeling emotionally overwhelmed? These are some of the questions that you can answer that will let you know if you are ready. So it really isn't about betraying, because you can, like I said, you can hold on to those memories as you go into other relationships. But what you really need to ask yourself is, am I ready? Is this what I want?
That is very helpful. I think a lot of people feel like it is betrayal, but you're saying it doesn't have to be one or the other. We only have about 25 seconds left, Dr. Buxani, so I'm going to have to leave it there. But last, 20 seconds to you, what would be your best piece of advice for people who want a healthy relationship?
listen to stuff like that, understand what the indicators of a healthy relationship are, because we do have indicators. If your gut is telling you that there is something wrong, please believe it. Do not gaslight yourself. Understand that if something feels wrong, your body is giving you this sign. And I want you, and there's help available.
Thank you so much. That will do it for this edition of Ask the Doc.
Thank you for listening to the Health Channel podcast. We hope this information has been useful. However, please remember that only your doctor can advise you about what is best for you. Do not start, modify, or suspend treatment based on anything you have heard on this podcast. Please join us again soon.